Hi guys, welcome back to Jodi Lewis Creations. This is part of our, hopefully I get it right, Crafty Christmas in July 2023 series. And today is June 28th for reference with some of the filming I've done. I do have two other videos that I have filmed. I have to get them all uploaded. I have the text block to include, and it's been updated, so hopefully I'll have that and be able to get everything uploaded, excuse me, and ready to share with you. So we have had a ton of work going on in our attic. We put a split, I don't know if I'm going to say it right, split unit AC in. I don't know. Anyway, it's like 3 things in 3 bedrooms with 1 central unit in the attic, and it blows air. Anyway, it just got finished last night, and it's just been a big mess. So I was able to spend some time yesterday just working on these pages that I really wanted to do. And I needed to do a messy project. My soul needed a messy project. I have gone 5 at least different directions with this project. As you guys, if you have been following me at any length of time, you know that I change directions a lot. I just kind of let the project talk to me and tell me where it wants to go, and that's where we go. So I know I have mentioned in the past, people say, oh, I just wish a person would have a plan when you start a video. And for those of you who feel that way, I do apologize. Most of the time, that is not how I work. I mean, I do have an idea that I want to share to make an ephemera piece. So I think I have a plan, but I don't know. I don't know where it's going to take me as I start to work on it, because I don't tend to make a prototype. I tend to share with you my thoughts, the way I feel. This is what I saw. This is how I feel like I want to work the project and put my spin on it. So I really don't do a lot of pre-made stuff. And honestly, that's part of the problem I have with taking so long to finish a journal. But at the same token, I like to have my pieces, you know, I don't strictly work in, say, a Tim Holtz vintage category. You know, I did the fairy journal. That was super glittery and a lot of fun. And, you know, I did the purple journal with all the envelopes and stuff. And how could I have pre-made ephemera for that? Because of the size and nature of that project. So if you're new to my channel, welcome and thank you for joining me. And my returning subscribers, you guys know I'm always chasing my squirrels. So I just did want to say that because it seems like it's been a topic of conversation that has come up repeatedly. And so I just wanted to say, for me, that's not how my brain works. I mean, this whole mask making thing, I am trying to embrace it, so I at least have some bases to pull from that then I can decorate for each of the projects. But that's just not how it works for me, because I don't want to mask make 10 things that are 4x5 and then I end up working in a journal this size, or I work in like the envelope journal, or I make a tall skinny, because then I just have those things sitting here taking up space. And y'all, I don't have a lot of space. I have a lot of stuff, but I don't have a lot of space. So anyway, I know there are people who can relate. I know there are other crafters who operate the way I do, and you don't have just, I mean, I have supplies to use. I just don't have a mass amount of bases to use. And I have really been spending some time trying to clean and organize, because I am going to be moving into my son's room at some point. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to move all this stuff. I have to organize all this stuff. And so, I don't know. Maybe once I get settled over there, I can get in a routine. But that's going to be a while still, because Mark had to get these AC units put in, and he's had to rearrange things in the attic multiple times. And he's got to rearrange things again so we can pull new electrical in that room. And so I just walked away from it for a while. So anyway, that is a very long intro to this video, but I just really felt like I wanted to just tell you how I was feeling about the pre-making and mask making and all of that. It's just, I do want to, and sometimes I'll sit here and I'll be like, oh, I'll make a couple things, and then I'm like, okay, I'm bored, and what am I going to use that for, you know? And I know it's just neutral bases, and you decorate as you go. I know, but that's just not how I work. Okay, so on the note of having been trying to sort, organize, and clean, I found this packing paper that I had that was super cool and unique. I had not ever seen this in any of our packages. And what was really cool is that it was perforated. And so the sheets were perforated. And I'll hopefully, yes, in the photos that I took that will be after this long spiel, you'll be able to see kind of some of the steps and the size that these were originally and then what I've turned them into. So this was basically craft colored packaging, and these were perforated, so they were folded on every perforation, similar to how we like ticket books or something like that. You know, they're like accordion folded, I guess, maybe. But anyway, they were thin. They were really thin, and there was no way that they were going to make like one page sturdy enough to use. So I'm looking at them, and to be perfectly honest, I was really tired of knocking them off the bottom tray of my cart. I'm like, I'm going to use these. And because of the colors that I'm going to use to make this project, I thought they're perfect. They're perfect. So they were basically double this height. Okay, so this is, oh gosh, where's my note? This is like 11 inches tall, I think is what these are. I've got the measurement for my cover written down, but not my actual pages, so apologies. I believe they're 11. Yeah, they're 11. So these were, I don't know, what do I have? 2, 4, 6, 8 of these basically, so, because these were perforated, you know, on each side, and I pulled 2 apart, like 2 at a time I pulled apart. So this would have been like 22 inches, which again, you'll see in the photos that I'll share. And so I painted them, whatever, and then I glued them and folded them in half. So one of these edges is going to be the perforated edge, like you can see here, hopefully. You can, let me see. Oh, the lighting is crazy. But you can see kind of the jaggedy edge here, and that's where I pulled the perforation apart. So anyway, so then I glued them front to back. So now it's slightly more substantial, but really not super substantial. And then I glued them together, and then I stitched around the edges. I probably could have given them more structure if I had used a glue stick. I did not. I just used my Aliens tacky glue because I only have like, I don't know, what is that, inch and a half in my bottle, and I'm trying to finish it. So I used Aliens, and that's what I used to glue them together. And I took my brayer and smoothed them out and tried to get them kind of as even as I could. There's a couple that are a little wonky, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. And I just did a straight stitch around on my sewing machine because I almost went wonky on them, and I thought I'm really going to try to do a traditional style with this journal, and so I just wanted the straight stitch. So I got ahead of myself. Let me back up. Okay, this is an Amazon package. Now, again, in the photos, I don't know how fast like the slideshow will be because I haven't done that many photos in a video, but you can see this different here. This is a piece of packing paper that I crumpled up and ran my Stays On Timber Brown and then some archival gold over, because when I cut this envelope down, these envelopes have like these little foam dot things, and that's what cushions them. So when I cut it like I did on the top and the bottom, you could see those little foam dots, and I thought, well, I don't like that. And I meant to stitch some cheesecloth in there just to kind of have a fluffy edge, and I forgot, and then I glued it, and I was like, oh my gosh. But by the time I got to the point of gluing this, I was super annoyed with the men who were here working because they is it okay if do you want to take our shoes off? I'm like, no, it's fine. Just, you know. And the one guy had so much mud in his shoes. I mean, literally, it took me forever to get it cleaned up. Like, so frustrated with these guys that were here working. And so I just completely spaced putting my cheesecloth in, or, you know. But anyway, that's just a grumpy pants moment. But anyway, so what I did was, thanks to a suggestion of a dear friend, you know, I always tell you guys, have your phone a friend. She says, I tried a couple different types of fabric and they just didn't match with my colors. So I just went with this. And I actually kind of like it. It frames it. So anyway, there's that. Okay, now let's talk about the painting. What did I do? And I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast, but there's a lot of supplies that I used, and I want to make sure that I'm able to get through it and just talk about it. So to start with, you guys know, they're both over there. I have the Dollar Tree cutting mats, which are just the plastic mats. And they are great for something like this because they're not absorbent, and you can, you know, use them kind of as a palette. If you're going to use like parchment paper, again, beware that if you get a fold in your parchment paper, that's going to create a weak spot. And if you don't have it on something that's color safe, you're going to get paint on a surface that you may not want it on. For example, the countertop in the RV with a very bright blue paint that I was freaking out with rubbing alcohol trying to get it clean before Mark found it. Luckily, I got it out. But lesson learned, and I had not ever had it do that before. So even if it's never happened before and you've used parchment paper, it can happen. So just be mindful. You can use a piece of freezer paper, you can use a piece of glass, you can use a piece of, or you know, one of the Dollar Tree cutting mats. You could use a piece of acetate for like a palette. So I started with this folk art matte True Burgundy, and I did it on my cutting mat. I sprayed it with water. I brayered it to mix it, and then I just randomly brayered both directions all over, and that's this darker red here that you see, okay? So I did that on all 4 sheets and the cover. Next, back up. I'm so sorry. I started first with burnt umber, apple barrel burnt umber. And this is what, like 60 cents at Walmart. So, I mean, you guys can do this probably even with Dollar Tree paint. I don't know. I've never used Dollar Tree paint. I started with the burnt umber, same process. Cutting mat, water, brayer, all over. Then I use antique white just to kind of give it a bit of lightness. And you can kind of see it like in the background here. It gave us some lightness. Then I did the burgundy. Then I did hunter green folk art matte. Okay, so that's kind of these darker colors you see in the background here. So I did that. And then I learned what colors not to mix, and I will share with you. I took a little bit of gesso and a little bit of burnt umber because I thought, oh, I'll make just a really soft brown to stencil. And then I thought, oh, I wanted some shimmer. So out came the gold metallic matte medium. And I thought, oh, that's not working. So I added some of my golden iridescent gold. That didn't work. And then I added some Ceram Coat metallic in gold as well. All this did for me was produce a skin toned paint, okay? So you can kind of see that I've gone over it, you know, but I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it wasn't the effect that I wanted. So I said, okay, just stop for a second. And then I used this stencil for that. Then I have this stencil and I thought, oh, this kind of looks like flowers. So I just did gesso on those to start with. And just gessoed some random flowers around. And then I took my, oh, did I carry it in here? I did. My Winsor Newton, I never know how to say this word. Phthalo green, phthalo green. I don't know what's silent and what's not silent with all those consonants together. But anyway, that's the color that I used. And I used a makeup sponge, and I made sure it was pretty dry. Like I dabbed it in the paint and then a separate spot. I like dab, 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 and got it just real dry. And then just went through and stenciled some green damask on there. Same thing with this stencil. And this is a permanent alizarin crimson. That is a beautiful red. And that's this brighter red damask you see. Okay. Well, then I thought my white snowflakes look a little dull because they're just gesso. So then I came back with the Liquitex just iridescent medium and just laid my stencil over. And with my same white sponge, just dabbed over. And then it's got kind of a shimmery effect. I hope that will come through for you. And then I still didn't like my skin-toned ornaments. And so I came back in with this stencil with my metallic gilding polish. And I will tell you that doing that through the stencil really made my fingers sore. But because I really had to rub hard to like get the wax in the grooves, I tried to use the little sponge thingy that comes in the top of it, but it was damaging the sponge really fast, and I said, oh, that's not going to work. So I'm sure there's an easier way, and if you have a tip for that, please share. My fingertip would greatly appreciate the tip for making that easier. Okay, so then I thought we just needed a little more shimmer, and phone a friend to the rescue. I wanted to do splatters, but I was afraid that I was going to do too much. Because when I do this, I'm always like, oh, back up. I have this plastic thread spool that I use to create circles. So again, back to my burnt umber, I watered it down and I just like randomly stamped all over my sheets with that. So that's where you see these circular patterns. And then I have this thing, which actually my glue sticks come on. So if you get these glue sticks, this is a great mark making tool. Gosh, say that 3 times real fast. So here, I'm sorry, I hit my phone. So here you see, so that same burnt umber that was watered down, I just said, you know, and you might have to shimmy it around on the cutting mat a little to make sure your paint's on there, or you can even take your brayer and brayer it, and then just, you know, and same with this. Sometimes I brayered, especially if I was getting low and trying to mix my paint or get it like back to where I hadn't had all these little circle marks in it. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so you don't have to do fancy, expensive mark making tools. Look around your house. You have things. I mean, I was looking for bubble wrap, but I either had a really big bubble wrap or really tiny bubble wrap. I didn't have just a scrap piece of normal size because that's actually what I was gonna do. But these little circles they're kind of fun. So there's that. Okay, and then, oh, splatters. So at Michael's, I was looking for some acrylic inks, and oh, sorry, kitty. She's literally right between my feet. I kicked her. I was looking for some acrylic inks, and I was gonna get a couple of colors, and then Mark happened to look down on the bottom shelf, and he says, honey, what about this? And it was a 3-pack of these, and they were on clearance, and I can't remember now. I think it was like $10 for all 3, when these things are like, what are they, $7, $8 a piece, something like that? Whatever, it was a great deal. So I again used the dropper, cutting mat, a little bit of water, and just splattered all over. So these have some really great shimmer and shine and iridescence to them. And so these are gonna be 4 pages in our journal. And our Amazon cover is 11.5 from top to bottom, and the width of it was 17.5 because I was allowing for approximately a 2-inch spine. So that is the cover and our 4 pages, all made from repurposing packaging. So this is an Amazon envelope, and this is some perforated packaging out of something that Mark had gotten, and I was like, I want that. And I've had it since last year at least. And like I said, I got tired of moving it. And with the colors I'm trying to do, I thought it would be perfect. So if you have any questions about this, please do not hesitate to ask. I am telling you, life has been really hard for us for, well, as you know, if you've been following me, basically the last 3 months. And I really, really, really needed just to get messy and get lost in a project. And I feel like I've said that before since we've been home. But the process of getting messy for me is very freeing, and I have no expectations. And the thing about this is I could have done all of these steps, and if I said, gosh, I just don't know if I like this, gesso, collage, cover it, or throw it away. These are all recycled materials. So, you know, it was a release for me. It was an outlet for me. And I am super thrilled with these. I told Mark, I'm like, these would make some wicked cool placemats if I could seal them somehow. And he thinks he's funny. Oh yeah, for Christmas. Duh, it's a Christmas project. So, okay. I know, that was kind of sassy and snarky, but that's where I'm at right now. So, okay, so that's that. And after this description, I will have a series of photos that I took yesterday in the process to kind of just show as the layers were built. Hopefully the one photo I took with the dots will show you what I'm talking about, so you know to look for that. And then what was the other thing I really wanted to tell you? Make sure if you're going to sew around your pages that your glue is dry. You don't want to gummy up your sewing machine. That's for sure. This is the fan brush I made to use this, or excuse me, fan brush I used to make the splatters. You don't have to have a fan brush. That was just a splurge I made last year for myself to make the splatters because I love splatters, but you can use just a regular paintbrush for that as well. Okay, so I think that's it. So in what order, I don't know, but as of today, I have a video that is opening the goodie bag from Lisa at Lisa's Paper, Lace, and Bling, and she sent some really fun things to work with, so I'm really excited about that. I did a marbling paper experiment, and so we'll have some pieces of that to use in this project and this project. So I'm 3 videos in. Nothing has obviously been posted at this point. And maybe I'll make this one the first video because I'm kind of talking a little bit more about my plan and where I'm going to go with this. So I'm feeling very traditional colors. You know from previous videos when I made the ephemera holders, which I actually did get a 3rd one made. I'm trying to use scraps. I'm trying to use what I have. I did make some ephemera pieces, but I don't know what will or will not work with this. And the size of this truly is a lot bigger than what I had intended to work with. But again, I let the project tell me where to go. And these papers here dictated this. Like I have this and I was gonna do a different style cover, but I'm gonna save that for a different project. Something that my friend did, and I've watched a video on how to do it, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it for this Christmas project. So stay tuned for an upcoming project. But anyway, so there's that. Okay. So know that you don't have to have all the expensive things. I bought these because they're a little bit of a thicker paint. However, these worked perfectly well. You could do the same thing. You could even get similar colors in the apple barrel, which I know Walmart has, and I think these are like 60 cents a bottle. These are, I don't know. I don't even remember. But anyway, I think these I might have even gotten at Walmart. I'm not sure. But you don't have to like go to Michael's and get the better quality paint. This was a treat for myself. And the golden was definitely a treat for myself because I've never seen this on sale. And then the gold I had purchased for my Christmas project, and it was clearly not on sale because Hobby Lobby has done what it has done with their sales. However, the iridescent and the silver I got on clearance. So if you're in the store, I'm not saying go shopping all the time, but I am saying watch for the clearance deals, because you would be amazed at what gets put on clearance periodically. So just keep your eyes peeled. If not, don't worry about it. You could just take, you know, the gold whatever, water it down, make your splatters that way. You can use your gold, just make sure your fingers dry, go through your stencils. It's going to give you similar effects. Just use what you have. Please do not run out and buy a bunch of art supplies for any of the projects that you see. If you're following people who truly have the heart to teach, ask questions. Hey, I don't have that. What can I use as a substitute? Because there are so many substitutions. And the perfect, wonderful thing about substitutions is it's going to push you creatively, because now you have to think outside the box. I don't have that. What can I use to get a similar effect? And so I'm really excited this summer. Once I get through this Christmas project, I have a Tim Holtz project I want to make, and then I have another Christmas swap journal that of course I'll probably film bits and pieces, but due to the nature of what I'm making, I don't know how much of it I can share, just due to certainly not wanting to offend anyone. So anyway, that's it. After this, I already said this, there'll be some pictures and I'll set those to music. Please, please, please ask any questions that you have and get your stuff out and get messy. It is so good for your soul. All right, well, thank you for joining me, and I'm really excited about this project. I'm very grateful to Teri Lee for the invitation again this year, so thank you so much, Teri, for inviting me again, and we'll see where this leads us. I don't have a clear plan, so it's gonna be fun. So thanks for joining me. Bye. Oh, by the way, love your comments. Love, love, love your comments. So hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, leave your positive feedback. Please don't leave me negative comments. There's enough negativity in the world, and we all need uplifting and built up, and just need to be kind to one another. So have a great day. Bye.